Good morning. It's HIE Awareness Month, and I'm Betsy Pilon. I talk a lot here and everywhere about HIE. We had an opportunity this morning to have the first part of some of the research that we have been putting together about improving care, communication, and connection in the NICU presented at the New England Perinatal Society. And so if any of you are new and coming from that meeting, I think we've had a couple new followers today after that was mentioned. I want to talk about how there was a question that was brought up, and this is not the first time in a lot of these conversations that we've been having with the medical community and with neonatal providers in particular. They're very concerned about medical legal concerns with naming HIE to families. And I think it's just really important that we look back at what the ethics say. In particular, the American Medical Association has an incredible resource that lists it out, detail for detail. So the imperatives of an ethical practice is to name diagnoses and not withhold that information from patients or families. And when it comes to peds, the decision makers are the parents. So we have to empower families. We cannot just leave them out of it and say we're treating babies. Babies cannot raise themselves. We have to treat the whole family. And I encourage these clinicians and amazing medical practitioners of all levels and all disciplines that are helping these babies, that if you do not empower families with educational information, such as naming a diagnosis, you are inadvertently negatively impacting the potential for that child with their outcome. If we don't have empowered and connected families to have information, it also has further impacts on trust. So regardless of cause, some causes might have a medical legal component to them, but this experience in particular with HIE families is so fish out of water from the parent experience and perspective that if you are withholding information and people find out about it later, and these families are the exact ones that have to learn quickly how to navigate a complex medical system for their child that has potential of medical complexities, you are putting them at a disadvantage, and you're putting the whole medical community at a disadvantage because the trust then is not built. It is broken. There are other situations where, whatever happens before the NICU, let before the NICU happen, right? Let people deal with that. Say, I will defer to your provider. And after you get out of this NICU experience, absolutely set up a meeting with them and talk through your experience. Those are the people that have that information. We're just the cleanup crew, right? That's essentially what happens. So, but we know that the majority of causes of HIE are not preventable. And maybe you don't have information on causation, and that's okay. You're not expected to. But what we do expect and would love and are expressed and articulated by our lived family experiences across all outcomes. So not just moderate to severely impacted families, we're talking all outcomes here, is that you need to communicate the diagnosis. That's almost the equivalent of going in, saying that you have a tumor and saying, see you later. There's no follow-up with that, but you have to have that follow-up, right? You have to learn more in order to best help your patient. So, because this is a theme now that when I've done presentations, now when other people are doing presentations about our community, these questions keep coming up when we talk about naming a diagnosis. I'm going to keep deferring to the American Medical Association's Code of Ethics. And I will link that afterwards in this video. And we're going to push out more content like that. You'll see us doing position papers that we're going to hope to get published, because we know that this is one of the most significant gaps that can easily change. And it does involve more awkward conversations, more than likely, but we can work through that. People can be trained on communication. People can be trained on difficult conversations. We can do this, because what it does is you take families, again, that have to raise babies after the NICU, and you've increased the trauma that they experience. And that's not your intent, understandably, but it's real and legitimate, and it's an easy, relatively easy fix. So my call today is, if you are a clinician in the NICU and you are concerned because risk has talked to you and said, we don't want to talk about that, there could be potential medical legal. Risk has not gone through medical school typically. Risk needs a copy of the Standards of Ethical Medicine from the American Medical Association, which I'm happy to provide, okay? And we can work together to decrease the trauma that these families experience in an already traumatic situation. We can improve trust, and we can improve, therefore, the outcomes of kids, because when you have empowered parents, they have the information to best help their children. And that's what you want, and that's what we want. So let's work together on it. We'll make changes. We know that they need to happen, right? Because my child, now almost 9 years ago, we weren't given that information, and people 9 years later are still not given that information, and it needs to change. We can change this, and we can make real change for families and children. That's my Sunday moment for you. And if there's any questions, please reach out. We are always available. We have not just me as a volunteer, or I'm not a volunteer anymore, but we have lots of people that care. We have a council of advisors. We have our medical advisory board. We have articulate families that want to improve this for other families. So let's do it together, okay? It's got to change. It's got to. Now's the time. Let's do it, okay? Well, anyway, have a good rest of your Sunday. I will drop that link for the components of the ethics for information share and withholding, and how that is against medical ethics. And there's also a really good piece from AMA from the PEDS perspective as well. So I'll include those too. They're really, really great pieces. So anyway, thank you all for joining. And when we put it on that theme of ethics, I think that might get people's attention a little bit more than saying, oh, these are just a bunch of parents that are angry about their experiences because their kids have brain injuries. It's more than that. It's more than that. We want improved change. So, oh, hello, Anna. Thank you. Anna's amazing. And I have to give a shout out to Anna because Anna presented it today. She was a rock star. So Anna, thank you for your partnership and your work on this. You did an amazing, amazing job today. We're so grateful for your partnership. So this has just gotten your presentation, actually hearing you articulate it this morning of this work, really got my head moving about how else can we position this to physicians and other care providers. So I think this ethical piece is actually one that could get traction. So we'll talk more offline. But anyone else, this is what we're talking about. We can improve this together. So now that I've been talking for several minutes, I'm going to call it a day. I hope everyone has a good rest of their Sunday. And if you are an HIE family, please give some props to Anna, who is in the comments right now, because she is one of the amazing physicians that is working with us on this project. And I feel like this has a lot of legs. So we are so grateful. All right. Well, everyone, take care. And thanks for sticking along with this little soapbox. Bye-bye.